So good morning students. In the last class we had talked about the chapter Principle of Inheritance and Variations. In today's class we will go for the Mendel's work. In that one scientist is there whose name is Krieger John Mendel. What was his work on the inheritance? Let's see about that one. Mendel's work. Okay, so here the person in the year 1856 whose name is Krieger John Mendel. Krieger John Mendel. Okay, so he became a famous for his work on what? On the series of breeding experiments. He became famous for his work on what means on for his work in a series of breeding in a series of breeding experiments to study plant heredity in garden pea plant. And this garden pea plant, the scientific name for this is Pisum sativum. Okay, now listen here. Krieger John Mendel in the year 1856, he had done some experiments on which plant means, that is on the garden pea plant, which is green in color, pea, like this it will be. Okay, like this. This is the pea plant. Okay, on this pea plant, he had done a series of experiments, breeding experiments, that means the mating experiments, to study, for what reason? To study the heredity. Heredity means how the characters are going to transfer from one generation to another generation. Okay, that is known as the heredity or inheritance. Okay, so in this way he had done many experiments. Okay, so he had done many experiments and came to the conclusion about the inheritance or the genetics. So here, for what reason he had taken the only pea plant for his experiments? What are the reasons? Here, the reasons for the selection of the garden pea plant for his work. What was the reasons means? Let's discuss that reasons. Mendel selected garden pea plant for his experiment or for his work experiment for the following reasons. For the following reasons. What are that reasons? Means here the first reason, first of all, they are the plant size will be very smaller. Due to the smaller size of the plant, that can be grown in a limited area. See here, first reason. As they are very smaller, they are smaller in size, and can be grown in limited size, limited area. Limited area means such as gardens and all. You can grow many number of pea plants in a small area. Why? Because the size of this garden pea plant is smaller size. Okay. Second reason here, as they had easily observable features. What they had? Second reason. This is the first reason, and this is the second reason. They had easily observable features or characters. Okay, easily observable features such as the plant size, plant height, color of the flower, color of the pea, or color of the pod, color of the seed, shape of the seed. Like that, the characters in this plant can be easily observable. Okay, this is one feature for which he has selected the pea plant. Then third reason here, as they were easily cultivated because of their rapid life cycle. As they are easy to cultivate, or easily cultivated because of their rapid life cycle. Okay, their life cycle is too short. Okay, within a week, like that. The life cycle of the pea plant is very short, such as the 6 to 8 days or 8 to 10 days. So, if life cycle is so much fast, life cycle means what? Seed is going to germinate, then plant is going to grow, then that plant is going to give the seeds, then again plant is going to die. Okay, so that is the life cycle. In that life cycle, that is very short. Okay, that means very rapid, due to which they can be easily cultivated. The last one, the flowers could be self-pollinated. Fourth reason, flowers could be self-pollinated. Self-pollination means what? Within the same flower, the pollination is going to take place. That is also very important to maintain a pure line breeding. Okay. So these are the 4 reasons why the Mendel has selected the garden pea plant for his experiments. Okay. So for this reason, Mendel has been selected this particular garden pea plant. Then Mendel conducted his experiments with using good scientific method. Okay, using some of the good, best scientific method, he had started his experiments. So he controlled his experimental conditions carefully. Okay, with all care, with all restrictions, he had done his experiments. So he has, if self-pollination is not necessary, if they want the cross-pollination means he is going to, so accurately, he is going to cross-pollinate through the emasculation and bagging technique. Okay, so all these things is going to, who has done, that is the Mendel. Next, here, the Mendel, whatever he is performing his experiments, These experiments he has performed in 3 sequential stages. What are the 3 sequential stages? Let's see here. Mendel, he performed his experiments in 3 sequential stages. He performed his experiments in 3 sequential stages. And what are the 3 sequential stages? Means the first is selection of pure line parents. Selection of pure line parents. This is the first stage. Here, selection of pure line parents. Okay. So in this first stage, which Mendel is going to perform in his experiment, Mendel has selected 7 pairs of contrasting characters from that garden pea plant. How many characters? Mendel selected 7 pairs of contrasting characters. How many pairs? That he selected some contrasting character from the Mendel pea plant. Okay, what are that? That too in pairs. For example, the color height of the plant is tall. Okay, tall, and the character should be opposing to this character. Tall. What is the tall opposite word for tall? That is the short. Okay, that short can be written as dark. Dark is also meant as the short. Tall is one character, and opposed to this one, that is the dark. Dark means short. Okay, so like this, some contrasting characters he has taken. So how many characters he has taken? That is around 7 characters, 7 pairs of characters he has taken. Okay, so for what? For his experiments on garden pea plant. Then he created pure genetic line by self-pollinating. Okay, first we will see what are the 7 characters. That 7 characters are before going to that 7 characters, I want to explain 2 terms. One word is the dominant, and the another is recessive. Okay, here you see characters are coming from where? That is from the genes. Okay, characters are coming through what? Through the genes. Okay, some of the genes are going to show their characters. They are dominant. They are expressing their characters. Such type of characters are known as the dominant characters. Okay, dominant means that is the expressive characters, expressing their characters. Okay, the gene which expresses his character, that particular process or that particular term, we can call it as the dominant. Okay, see, one example I will give you. In a class, if many students are there, okay, if a ma'am or a teacher asks a question to all the class, some of the students will tell, we know that answer. Means they are expressing their answers. Okay, so that character we can call it as the dominant character. They are dominant. They are feeling, they are excited to show their answer or to tell their answer. Like that only, here in the plants also, some characters will be the dominant. And that characters which are expressing that characters we can call it as the dominant. Yeah, and one more term is the recessive. Recessive means which do not express their character. Okay, means they have their genes, but they are not expressing their characters. Okay, see in the class, one more example I will tell you about the recessive. Some students in the class, if a ma'am or a teacher asked a question, they knew the answer, but they don't have so much confidence. Okay, not only confidence, they don't have so much daring to answer to the teacher in front of all the students. Okay, for that reason, they will fail to answer that question. Okay, they will just fail to answer that question. So that means they have the talent, they knew the answer, but they are not expressing. That character, we can call it as the recessive. So why I am telling about the dominant and recessive means these two terms are very important. Dominant character, recessive character. Keep in mind, dominant means which expresses in the character. Recessive means which does not express their character. Okay. So in these 7 pairs they had given pairs. One character will be the dominant and one character will be the recessive. Here I will write some examples. So here characters, and characters will be of 2 types. What are that? One is dominant and the another is recessive. Just now I had explained to you the meaning of dominant and the meaning of recessive. Okay, so first the character is height of plant. Height of plant. If we go for the height of plant means dominant means it will be tall. Okay, recessive means it will be dark. Don't be in confusion with the word dark. Dark means short. Okay, the next way. Position of flower on a plant, where does these flowers are going to be located? Position of flower. Okay, one is axial, and the another is terminal. Terminal is the recessive character according to the position of flower, and dominant is the axial. The third one, color of flower. Color of flower. What will be the color here? Color of flower What is the dominant color means? It is red. And what is the recessive color means? It will be the white. Red and the recessive is white. Okay. The next comes the shape of the pea. Fourth one, shape of the pea. Okay. In this shape of the pea, pea means the particular seed inside that particular pea. So, dominant character according to the shape, it will be round. Shape of the pea, round. And what is the recessive means? Wrinkled. Wrinkled. Okay. The next comes the color of pea. Shape of the pea. The next color of the pea. What is the dominant over here means color of pea, that is yellow is the dominant and green is the recessive. Okay, the next comes the shape of cotyledon. Sixth one, shape of cotyledon. What is the shape of cotyledon here means? One is inflated, means swelled. Inflated is the dominant character, and what is the recessive means that is the constricted. And the last character, seventh one is the shape color of pod. Here I will write seventh character, color of pod. What is the dominant character? Color means here it is green. Dominant character is green and recessive character is yellow. So all this is about what? About the 7 pairs of contrasting characters. In that pair, one character will be the dominant and the another will be the recessive. Okay, for your understanding, it is very important. Okay, height of the plant, tall, dark. Position of the plant, axial, sorry, position of flower, axial, terminal. Okay, then color of flower, red and white. Shape of the pea, round, wrinkled. Then color of the pea, yellow, green. Okay, see, shape of cotyledon means if you take out the seed, there will be 2 seed coats will be there. To that we are calling it as the cotyledon. One will be the swallowed one, that we are calling it as the inflated and constricted. Last, color of pod. Okay, one is green and the another is yellow. So all this is about what? All the 7 characters. So if you are perfect with these characters means then you can solve any problem. Means here Mendel's whatever there in the laws of inheritance, whatever he is explaining in his experiments, there he had applied some mathematical formulas, not formulas, some mathematical analysis there. Okay, so this is about what? About the characters. So first, in his first stage, in the selection of pure line parents, first he told he had taken the 7 pairs of contrasting characters in a pea plant for his experiment. Then initially he created a pure genetic line. What do you mean with this? Pure genetic line. Let's see here. Second one, not second one, next point. after taking the 7 pairs of contrasting characters for his experiment, next thing what he did means he created a pure genetic line by self-pollinating. Okay, self-pollinating each of the type. For example, you see, he self-pollinated a tall pea plant. See, he created a pure genetic line means what? That I will explain. For example, here you see, he has taken two plants. The two plants are tall and tall. Tall and tall. If he is crossing the tall plant with the tall plant, see here, if he is crossing a tall action in flowering plants, in that we had studied about the pollination and different types of pollination. So see here, self-pollination means if it is this is the flower in which there is a presence of anther as well as the stigma. Self-pollination means what we will do, we will just tie this or just cover that particular flower with a polythene bag or any other particular cover. Okay, so that no any other pollen should come and pollinate to this flower. In that case, what happens means the pollen grains will release and they will come and pollinate to this flower only. This type of pollination we can call it as the self-pollination. See, if within the flower only the pollen grains are going to transfer and pollinate in them, then there is no chance of some other genes to come and change their characters. Okay, if tall plant is going to cross with tall plant, so that genes only will inherit to the next generation. See, if within these two plants if you cross, then again in the next generation you will get the tall plants. Okay, if you again you cross these two dark plants, then again you will get the dark plants only. That means from many generations, the same genes are going to transfer. There is no change. So that process we can call it as the maintaining a pure genetic line. That it is created a pure genetic line by self-pollinating. Here two examples I had given. So he tried over like this character, tall, dark, color of the flower, color of the seed and all. He had tried for 12 characters. How many characters? That is for 12 characters. But whatever the offspring he will get, that will be what? It will be true breeding or true pure line. That means the same genes can be seen. There is no change in the characters because no any other flowers are going to pollinate them. Okay, so this he has done in the first. For what reason? For selecting the particular pure line parents. And second stage, here we will see what is the second stage. That it is the hybridization. Second sequential stage in his experiment is hybridization. Second is the hybridization. So here for hybridization, he cross-pollinated two plants with the contrast feature. Okay, there in this first stage he has self-pollinated, but in the second stage he is going for the cross-pollination. Okay, he cross-pollinated two plants. He cross-pollinated two plants, and then two plants with the contrasting features. With the contrasting features. Okay, contrasting features. For example, tall plant crossed with the dark plant. These are the pairs. Means two plants. Okay, one tall plant just crossed with the dark plant. Okay, so round seed with wrinkled seed, like that. So like that he has taken some pairs of characters, then he has cross-pollinated that. While crossing, he took the pollen of one crop and dusted on the stigma of another. For example, this is the tall plant. Here I will show. This is the tall pea plant, and this is tall female plant. That means this flower, this is the stigma. Okay, like this. This is the tall one, and here opposite to this is the short one, and this is the male plant or male flower. The plant which bears the male flower. Then here this is the flower and this is the anther. Okay, by one process that is known as the emasculation and bagging technique. Emasculation and bagging technique, what he had done means, he has taken the pollen grains. Okay, he has taken the pollen grains, just dusted the pollen grains into a washcloth or in a petri dish. Okay, then what he did is, he just taken these pollen grains and dusted on the stigma of what? Of the tall plant. Dusted and then just covered with the polythene bag, so that no any other pollen grain come and pollinate them. The process we can call it emasculation and bagging. The emasculation means removal of anthers. They are removed the anthers, then dusted the pollen grains on the stigma. Okay, so when dusted on the dark flower or on the tall flower, so what happens when the pollen of the dark plant or flower dusted on the tall flower, what happens means the stigma received the pollen from the dark plant or dark flower. So this flower then covered with the paper bag, so that prevent the contamination from other pollen sources. Okay, and after that, after like this crossing, whatever the next generation they will get. Okay, and that generation here, see, this is the parents. These are the offspring. For example, some are tall, some are dark, tall, like that. The offsprings they got. Offsprings means their children. Okay, so these are the offsprings. And which generation we can call? We can call it as the F1 generation. Why we are calling it as the F1 generation? immediately after crossing these parents, they will get the next generation means that we can call it as the F1. That means the first filial junction. What is the full form of F means? That is the first filial generation. Okay, what it is? F1 means first filial generation. And whatever the offsprings here that is produced after crossing by cell cross section, that offsprings we can also call it as the hybrid. What is that offsprings we can call it as the hybrid, and that process we can call it as the hybridization. Okay, so this is about the second stage where cross-pollinated by taking the two opposing characters, whatever the next generation that they are going to produce, that we can call it as the F1 generation, that means the filial generation, and next thing, whatever the offsprings they are going to produce, to them we can call it as the hybrid. Then third process here, that is the third sequential stage in this experiment, that it is the self-pollination of hybrid. Okay. See here, third one. Third stage is self-pollination of hybrids. So where do you got the hybrids? After second stage. After second stage, that is the hybridization, you got the hybrid. Okay, see here. There where we cross tall with dark. After crossing that, we got some of the plants tall, some of dark or tall. Okay, some are tall and some are dark. Like that we got. Okay, so what we did means self-pollination. Self-pollination means they themselves tall with the tall. They cross pollinated, self-pollinated tall with tall. Like that. Okay, the next one. So this one we can call it as the F1 generation. After crossing again with the hybrid, this all are what? This all are the, while we will cross among the hybrid. Which crop that it is? That it is the self-pollination. Okay. If we cross like this, we will get the tall plants. And this generation we can call it as the F2 generation. What we can call? We can call it as the F2 generation. So during this experiment, we have to carefully take care of all these accuracy for what? For the transforming the genes from one generation to another generation. So in the next class, we will continue with the next topic, that it is the monohybrid cross. Okay, thank you.